Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel Anaka Design, and today, excuse me, 68 of the 100-day challenge. Now, this is going to almost be more of a show and tell than an actual demonstration of anything too much, because it is so completely simple. What we're talking about today is napkins. And there are so many beautiful designs out there, and so many the artwork that they represent is so incredible that it seems that it does the design work for us. So, and it's a relatively inexpensive supply as well. So, first thing I want to show you is this pouch that I made using probably, wasn't the flimsiest paper in the world. It is book page. And I can see that can you see that? That I wrapped it around the edges, which sort of is nice. And again, this is just for me to sort some stuff into. And so basically, I think this was probably a Dollar Tree design. It kind of makes me smile just to look at it because it's so springy and pastel. So basically, all I did was glue it down to the paper and then zigzag around. And I don't know, you can probably tell by the way I'm handling it and by the sound it's making that it is pretty heavy duty. And so here it looks as though I reinforced it with, or overlapped it there. Because, of course, there's a limit to how big the design is, particularly if it's directional or, sometimes napkins are, 4 quadrants. So that limits well, I guess it depends. What I'm trying to spit out here is that if you have a wide enough selection of napkins to work with, you get to choose, what you use where. Sometimes having the design contained into one little quarter is just what the doctor ordered. So I'll set that aside and carry on. So what I did last night in preparation for this video is, let me show you first. I have, those storage drawers that Michael's sells. I had one of these, and it's one of the, 3 inches or so deep, full of napkins. Now these are, for the most part, they are napkins that I've already, started using in one way or the other. So you'll see something like this, a motif that has been separated. But I also had millions of these little crumbs. Now, probably a normal person, a sensible person, would just throw these things out. But needless to say, I didn't. So what I wanted to do was neaten up the drawer, be able to contain it all in one drawer as opposed to, having it overflow into a second drawer. So I basically just started making stuff with it. I will probably come back to this drawer in a moment. But as I get it out of the way, I just want to say that there are several pieces in here. This is the part that these are the 1 or 2 thin layers that we take off a napkin. So if you haven't done this ever, napkins are either 2 or 3 ply. So there's this sort of strengthening one, and then there's 1 or 2, or this and this top decorative layer. So typically, some of them you can just almost get, just by working the corner a little bit, you can get it going. If not, I use a bit of Scotch tape in the corner, and that makes it lift. So again, not going to throw those things out. So I have stamped some stuff on them. This is a lovely color. This is a little swirly stamp that I have. This is pattern tissue paper. This maybe was just me trying some stuff out. And the other thing, of course, is that napkins come in at least 3 different sizes, and maybe I'll get to that as well. So I also have stuff like this in this same drawer. Now this one is a B one, and it was sort of on a honeycomb paper. Anyway, love that high heel. I would never be caught dead wearing anything like that. But hey, another thing I keep in this drawer are these sorts of index pages. Now this one happens to be just from a glued book as opposed to a sewn-in signature. So it's just, you know, you can't do a signature page. Now, as I was gathering my stuff for this video, I couldn't quickly lay my hands on pages that I have reinforced with or decorated with napkins that have become either signature pages or journal covers, depending on what the background paper was. But anyway, I keep a few sheets of this in the drawer, just as a reminder that it's always a great thing to use as a background paper. And I'll probably do one of those just quickly when I'm done, when I'm just about ready to end the video. So besides that drawer, I also had this big file folder with bits and pieces in it. And you will see that here I have this lovely, now I must have overlapped this because this is bigger than a napkin. Well, hard to tell. Anyway, this lovely parrot tulip. So I glued it to this file folder, manila colored. So this could easily become a journal cover. Let's see how big that design is. If I went from here to here, 3, 6, 9, 10, you know, trim a little here, trim a little there. Or perhaps it becomes, you know, full, well, I don't really want to put a crease into it, but, you know, sort of halfway kind of thing. Or just use sections of it. So there's that possibility as well. Okay, but like I said, I had these millions of scraps, and this is just, these are kind of the leftovers of what I was using yesterday, and you'll see how much I created. And then I looked through the drawer and kind of neatened it up and found even more. So this was okay, let me back up a little further. Yesterday I also taped a haul video, and this was one of the things that I talked about in the haul. I paid $1 for this roll, and it is over 6, it's about 6.5 inches in diameter. So there is a heck of a lot of paper on here. And as I said in the video, this has a gummed back. So at any point, this could be dampened and, of course, would be then able to stick down to anything. So I thought, well, okay, I can either put this away and forget that I have it, or I can quickly begin using it. So what I did was I started cutting off lengths of it and started gluing down strips. So it is 2 inch, almost 2.5 wide. So this is obviously too long for the shot. But, if you hear a little bit of dinging in the background, or see me reaching across to my laptop, it's because I'm watching an online auction waiting for something that I'm interested in to come up. And I have to keep waking my computer up. Anyway, okay, let me pull this through a bit so you can see the variety. How come that dinging didn't seem that loud before I started taping? And, you know, like, I just look at these things and I'm just happy because they're so cute. And, okay, so then you have something like this, which is very decorative and bold. Then you have something like this, but there are places for each of these designs. And I love this succulent one. Oh, I did trim the excess. Most of the time I was too impatient to wait till it dried, so I tried doing it just as it was damp and, you know. Anyway, so this is 38 inches long. So what would be the point? So a person could rip it off at any point, just like you would a snippet roll. Or it could be a belly band, or it could be wrapped around the edge of a page. Like, it could be anything you know, you can use it in any way you would any other piece of paper. Okay, so there's that one. So then, of course, why would I stop there? So I think, oh, the next one I did was this one. Now, this one is a lot shorter. 13 inches long. And this one, I tried to be more cognizant of the colors I was putting together. I love it. I just love it. Then I did this one because by this time I started sorting things by sort of color families. So this one you can see is more yellows and browns and earth tones. And this one is 20.5 inches long. So I was just kind of randomly choosing lengths because, again, it doesn't really matter. Then I did pinks. And then I did sort of a graphic black and white with a shot of red. This one is about 24 inches. So I have to say, this is addictive, people. Okay, so that is what I did. Now, of course, at any point in this one, maybe they'll choose, this one is maybe the lightest in color. Of course, at any point in the process, you can embellish these things further. So I have just an ordinary stamp pad. I have this on a block, but maybe, well, I'll just see how this goes. Lightly ink it up a bit. It's sort of text, little scripty kind of thing. Let's put some protection under here. You know, so just a bit of random stamping. Maybe not quite that faint. You know, adds a new dimension to the paper. And of course, if a person were using this as a snippet roll, and you could add other things to it as well. You could add some ribbon, you could add buttons or sequins, or, you know, you name it, depending on what your final destination is. Okay, so there's that. Now I should move these aside and maybe just pull in this this is going to be a short video. Pull in this index page. Now, some of the other bigger scraps that I picked were these. Now that's going to be, and of course, the bigger the piece of napkin, the more challenging it is to get it down, without creases or air bubbles or whatever. Now, I have found that the simplest way that I use is just a glue stick. And that, sometimes that works like a hot damn and sometimes it doesn't. Because, of course, I can still rip it. Now, if I was using something like that, chances are I'd be able to get that down, no problemo. But you can just see how many lovely, I just love this one too. And again, depending on, I did a journal cover with this, if I'm not mistaken. So, but maybe for this purpose, rather than tie into something to, ripping open a new one, maybe I will just pick this with these peaches. Try to get the least distracting background for you. Okay, so basically, how wide is this? 7.5 inches. Okay, so if I nestle this down in the corner, I know that if I trim it later, that it'll pretty well be the right size for a page. So what I'm going to do is just liberally apply glue. And sometimes, if you want to make your life a little bit easier, maybe I would make just a teeny tiny tick mark there. And I know here, if I go up to the end, that I'll be in good shape. And then, of course, I can just reach under and add some more glue if necessary. Because, of course, your hands do get kind of mucked up and very sticky from this. So there's my little tick mark there. I'll just go over. And, of course, the stickier your hands get, the more likely the paper will stick to it in a way you didn't want, and will create either a tear or something like that. So with the angle that I'm looking at this, I can basically see that I've got, good coverage. Don't see any bare patches as far as I can tell. So, because I had a plan for this, it's not just random, smack it down in the middle. See, already my hands are gooey. I'm going to lay this down in the corner and kind of do it in stages. Because, of course, once it makes contact with the glue, it's pretty hard to lift it up and reposition it. So it's a bit of a juggling act. But don't let any of the things I'm pointing out discourage you. Because, again, okay, there's probably a crease right there. I don't mind that. In fact, I like it. And of course, you can either pretend it didn't happen, or you can accentuate it with some strategic inking. Now, I'm not going to work that much more, because then that just increases the chance that I'm going to rip it. So we can see that I didn't get the glue as high as I need to in this area. So again, I have a couple choices. Either go in and add some more, or rip off whatever is not attached. So here I can just rip that off. I still have a nice, interesting edge. And is that not gorgeous? So this could be hinged and in one's journal. Now, I noticed that these scissors were not, probably need a cleaning for one thing. But of course, I wasn't patient enough to wait for the glue to dry. But maybe I can, if I do a little trim, you'll get a better feel for how the page looks. Keep my screen alive. Okay. Oops. Where did that thing go? Okay, and you may want to take note of this. Hazel threw a scrap away. I just love this. And again, it is so, it's addictive. So let me just show you, in case you're not aware of the options that are out there. Let me just show you. Oh, and of course, the other thing you can do is you can adhere napkins to any sort of a substrate. So if this would have been tea-dyed paper, hey, I have some embossed paper here. Should we just quickly try something on here? Which is the worst one? Well, let's do the smallest one. You know, I guess that's the bonus of never cleaning your desk properly. There's always something within reach. Hey, but that bee would be out of proportion in size. Is there anything suitable in these micro scraps? Or do I forget about it making any sense? Let's just add cherries to that and see what happens. I've never tried that before. Okay, so the challenge, this paper is very thin. I don't even know where it came from. Seems to almost be perforated. Maybe I should get this size down a bit so I'm not putting glue where I don't need it. And of course, if you've watched other videos on using napkins, you know that you probably can't see against the dark. You know that a lot of people wet a paintbrush to make the tearing easier. I usually don't bother with that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just removing some of the excess here. Again, I like the torn edge because it looks more, it will blend. Oh, and the other thing to remember is, okay, so on a napkin like this, with a dark background, you're pretty well obscured as to what the underneath paper looked like. On this one, with a white background, you can very clearly see that it was put on white paper. So you kind of want to keep that in the back of your mind because, you know, you may be not getting the result you want if you're not making that one of your considerations. So this is a darker color. So we will see what happens here. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to prevent. Okay, so basically if I put my glue down kind of diagonally, I should be fine. Again, this will be a bit of a challenge because the paper is thin and it is embossed. So is my glue getting down to the bottom layer is going to be the question. Whoa. Okay, that should be good. I'm doing this diagonally so I get most of it on there. Now, it'll be, maybe I should try to sort of spread this from. Now, another thing that a person could use is a brayer for sort of even pressure. Now really from this side, again trying to do this very gingerly because of course once the napkin paper gets wet, so to speak, from the glue, it becomes even more fragile. I must say, and again, maybe that's because this bottom paper is so thin, it almost seems like it's flattening out the embossing. So it is not very, well, it's not visible, let's just say that. Now, you know, that isn't necessarily the end of the world because the color, you know, is still a factor here. So maybe I could, if it's not too late, rip some of this up, expose more of that bottom color, bottom paper color. But you can see how it now makes this background paper, instead of it being, you know, the pure white that it was beforehand, it now looks kind of pinkish. So this might be a bit of a challenge, getting it flat. And again, this picking that I'm doing at the edge is just, you know, it exposes more of the background color as well as sort of gets rid of anything that wasn't adhered properly in the first place. And of course, if it's critical that it be exactly where you have it, then of course you just add more glue. Okay, so I'm just going to conclude by showing you some of my favorite napkins out of that drawer. And it doesn't, whoops, it doesn't represent all the napkins I have. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that I have napkin bundles in my Etsy shop, and nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And they are sorted by either themes like florals or by color like earth tones. You know, those are sort of just a couple of examples. So let me get rid of those ones that I stamped. And that, again, was just the lining. Okay, so let's get down to the ones that are more intact. Now, I've got millions, so let me warn you. And this, trust me, this isn't all. Okay, so I do have a few sewing patterns there. So there's this size. Now, this is an anomaly. It's bigger than all the others. I don't know. But isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so I'm just not sure. Are these the ones that are called luncheon? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. You say tomato, I say tomato. So this size, you know how I feel about paisleys. Now, see, a dark color like this will, of course, cover pretty well anything that's underneath. So if we put this on like a book, an index page like that, I can't tell you how much I love this. I'm hoarding it because I love that magnolia, love the colors. I have done some stuff with it, but I have very few of those. So, oh, more paisley. See, and these geometric ones, is that not gorgeous together? And when you want some, you know, intensity of color, I don't think that can be beaten. This is, oh, you know what? This isn't a weird size. This was folded over like so. Anyway, I guess I'm not going to change that now, but yeah, that's a normal one. Okay, so then this side, I think these are the, what are these guys called? Beverage napkins. Now this is old, and I have to say that some of these, you know, there's less to this, of course, but the nice thing about something like this is that you've got that border. So if you wanted to decorate a corner or, you know, do something along the side of a page, something like that would be perfect. I also think that there are, okay, so there are novelty ones like this, rock and roll, with these records. I like those colors. Fall themed ones. I love something like this all over design. So you don't have to worry here about, you know, is it upside down or this, just because of the colors. Again, you know, an all over design, so easy to work with. More paisley. This fruity one, well, you saw that I used part of that somewhere, but does that not just remind you of an old-fashioned like oilcloth tablecloth back in the day? Oops. Oh, and some of these are still intact. They haven't been opened up. When I get new napkins, I sometimes just set them aside so I make sure that I use them and know exactly what they look like. Animal print. Don't have many of those. This one is cute. Well, I'll show you the bigger piece. Look at how nice that scalloped edge is. Again, such bold, rich colors. Oh, here's more of this. There were some, and I think I used them up just because I was so disgusted by how lousy the quality seemed to be. Lily of the Valley. I mean, it looked really nice, but boy, was it kind of a bugger to work with. Oh, I've got more of these. Where did I put them? Oh, right there. Here's a nice little floral. Oh, and I like these feathers. Again, because of the turquoisey. And you can see some of these, I've removed the back already. I love this one because of the colors. I guess I could turn, where's the volume on this? I better not touch it. Or either. I just love this as well. I didn't really think I was going to show you everything. Live It Up. That's just a neutral. Butterflies. More of this. This one is nice, but boy, not easy to work with. So I think they're, well, sometimes maybe there's just a quality issue. I didn't really intend to do all this sorting here with you, but oh, and this one, I've used this one several times because I love it. And see, something like this, I would, and it's just, again, one of those beverage ones, so it's not that big. And you can see that this is a design and then this is the same thing. Love it because of those shoes, the purses, the jewels, the macarons. Now, something like this, you know, this border would end up in my little scrap pile because that border seems a bit heavy, to be honest, but love it. You've seen this one before. This one again with more words, more Live It Up. I'll just quickly show you. Now this is, you know, I have a few, and the peaches one is one of them. Oh, it's other fruit, not just peaches. This one I like because of the color, and I've used it in several ways. You know, this is old as the hills. It almost feels like it has, I don't know if you can tell on here, but it kind of almost looks like fabric, like little linen-y. Oh, this was the one with the teacups. And gorgeous, I think this is, you know, sort of, I don't know if this is, the back, of course, doesn't have that much on it, but you do end up with that harlequin or the black and white floor. I've got a gazillion of these because, now do any of these still have it? Because of the poppy pod and the red poppy. You know, this Ukrainian kid, of course, has a thing for red poppies. More of that. Here's a lovely one. This one has these butterflies. The backside is nothing so exciting. This is a vintage one. You can just tell by those colors. Now, obviously, you know, the design is pretty well in that one corner, but I think what it lacks in maybe quantity, it makes up for in old age. That's a big floral. Not sure about that one. Here's a lovely blush colored one. I like this. I've used this in some. Oh, I have this somewhere within reach. I used this one over old calendar, you know, like those desktop calendar things. Made signature pages, some birds. I shouldn't be wasting your time doing this, but honestly, it just, they're so gorgeous. Leaves. This one has some florals and some polka dots. Now, sometimes you just may need some polka dots. This one, of course, you know I like it because of the color and the paisley. Not that easy to work with for some reason, but here's another piece of paisley. Whoops. Love, love, love this one because of the colors, and I think that reminds me of crewel needlework. Hydrangeas. Oh my God, hydrangeas. Oh, there's more of this somewhere. Where were those other bunnies? Sorry. I guess if you don't want to watch this, you will have you'll have left by now and not hear me say that. But anyway, tulips, no, orchids and tulips. Sunflowers, again, Ukrainian motif. These are stylized poppies. Birds. More poppies. Now, some of these are not in my sets because I just had, you know, not enough to share. This looks like an old patchwork quilt, and some of this was used in those strips that I did on the thing. Don't you expect to see some ants walking across this? Oh, more of this. This is that one I told you about. I've used that several times. This is the dark one I showed you, and I love this, and for the longest time I was hoarding this as well. Oh, you know, another thing, I should have brought it. I can see it from across the room. I love this one so much. It's got that Asian feel to it. I, of course, with Hazel, my initial is H. I have one of those wooden H, a wooden H that's probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 inches tall. And it was just raw wood. So what I did with that is I decoupaged. If you give me 1 second, I'll just quickly get it and show you. Sorry, guys. I'll be right back. Coming. Okay, so this was one of those, well, not masonite, but you know what I mean. You see those. So you can see I've used this lady's face as well as these other women. And here you can see that it's the protective lining paper because it's like a shadow image of her. So I just have this propped up on a shelf in the corner of my, so that's another possible use for napkins, is to, you know, actually decoupage something bigger with it. Okay, I'm going to speed up here. More hydrangeas, more florals. I think in my napkin kits, oh, I have a kit, I think that's called Florals. Or is it pink floral? I can't remember. Something generic like this is also great for just creating a background layer. Or if I was doing something really with this sort of maroony color, it's a way to bring a splash of color into something. More. This has like a wood barn board type background. More butterflies. And again, depending on how the design is laid out, I could isolate any one of these butterflies or a couple of these where they overlap and just add them to whatever project. Love, love, love this so much. I don't know how many of those I have left, but I have more poppies. This will take me to these poppies when I saw them. And this is years ago, long before I started doing junk journal stuff. I bought everything they had, and it will take me to the end of time. Another one of those background things that, again, could reinforce, same thing here, reinforce your theme, add a bit of fun. Here's another butterfly one. Again, with the butterflies large enough that they would, another butterfly. You've seen that one. Okay, these are a lot of these are repeats, I think. Oh, see? I love this because it goes so well with, it just, well, I've used it a lot. Let's just say that. I don't know that I can see exactly where I have used it just now, but I love that kind of flower. Okay, this is where I got those other ladies' faces from for my H. Oh, see, this girl is missing her head. These girls here with the umbrellas. Now, the other side of this, or the rest of this, is hot air balloons. And I have, you know, once you start removing the parts that you wanted, which in this case would have been the ladies, I then ended up with all those hot air balloon scraps. So I did something that was just pretty well all balloons. Another one of these. And again, this is not even the tip of the iceberg. This is a vintage one. To be honest, it's pretty muted. So again, more, you know, quite a color difference in terms of vibrancy. Then you end up with something like this. I might have gotten just a few of these for, I was doing a baby thing. But again, you know, wouldn't that be kind of cute on the side of a page? Here's another baby one. Okay, this one is lovely. It's like a Europe street scene. Is that not gorgeous? Does that not make you wish that we were going somewhere? You know, isolate the bicycle or the bridge or the people or the storefront. Like, the possibilities are endless. Another one of these. This one too is lovely. Oh, I put together a bundle just on sort of Paris themed or French themed ones. All over design. That would look great. And again, with its relatively light background, it will go over something, you know, it'll go over the lightest color you have and be nice. This one is nice also because it's kind of botanic in nature. Okay, well, so it's a repeating thing here. So this is what 1/4 looks like. So it's got different botanicals. It's got, you know, a few little numbers like they were specimens, a few words, a bee, a butterfly. This, for a little gardening lesson, this is allium, which is like, allium is the onion and garlic family. Oh, there's clove of garlic right there. I planted a bunch of these bulbs last fall, and they have already budded out. So one of these days, I'm going to have gorgeous, now I don't know if that'll be true the first year, but gorgeous, like 3 or 4 inch purple globe heads on them. Look at these foxes. Lovely. This one is really nice because you can see the texture off it. Well, it looks like fabric and it looks like embroidery, and it's got these delicate flowers and wheat. So very folksy. This is that same one here. More birds, more of that one. Told you I love an animal print. More birds. More of this gray one. Can't resist, you guys. Anyway, I should be checking the time. This is a very simple one, but I used it here. Sort of a honeycomb pattern and those little beads, because we know that black and white and gold are very nice together. Here's another autumn one. Another one that's just leaves. Oh, more foxes, more of those. This one is a kind of a mixture, and I know I have a wildlife bundle, so it would be, you know, napkins like the fox, this one, mallard. Oh, look at these guys. See, they could be with my teeny tiny scraps. Another botanic. Okay, these are more of the same. This one I love, and this is part of the French bundle. Look at this. Does that not scream girly? Look at those perfume bottles. Look at the little French words. Look at the tube of lipstick and the rouge. If you knew how much I love this. And I've done this on tags. Oh, we're into some of the other. Okay, I see another one of those. Thought I saw another one. Oh, yeah. It seems like my stacking has gotten out of control here. Here's another French one, also part of the French bundle. Now this one is very, you know, tone on tone. But again, you want a crown? There's a crown. You want an Eiffel Tower? There's the Eiffel Tower. Now this one has a really dark background, so that would give you a different look, obviously, than, you know, something with a light background. This one, look how rich that is. Another dark toned one. This one is... This one is grapes. That one matches that other one. This is an all over really subtle design. More sunflowers. This is one of those basically just with a border. But again, even this kind has possibilities, because you can isolate the tulips. You can use this sort of slotted type border. Butterflies, little, I don't know what that is, almost like a wax seal or something in the corner. Okay, let me speed this up. This one I had scraps of this because it's so versatile. This is another one that, and I think this is also in my French bundle. Lavender and Provence. Little butterfly, like, I mean, just simply gorgeous. Oh, there's that tulip. The parrot tulip I was telling you about. Oh, so it is just the whole... Look how lovely that is. Birds, florals. But you can see I have to do many, many more projects. Now, even a stripe like this. Oh, you know what? I bet you this is my only one that I used somewhere. There's some schmutz on it and brought it home. Magnolia. This is another one of the Paris ones. And you saw me do that. Use it on this one in areas. So it's got some script. It's got the fleur-de-lis. It too is gorgeous. Another floral. This one, I don't know that there's anything here that you haven't already seen. Oh, I have several of these roosters. That would be in the wildlife one. I think you've probably seen all of these in one form or another. This one, I don't know. I think that's the only one of those I have. Anyway, let me finally let you guys go. So, dig out your napkins, or keep an eye peeled for some napkins, or go to my Etsy store and buy some napkins and begin using them, because the possibilities are endless. And even though I didn't show you any signature pages, you do know how much you can do with these things. So thank you so much for joining me. This, I might have to put this somewhere to flatten out. Again, that bottom paper was very thin. But even this could be, you know, used to decorate a tag or something. It's not going to add a great deal of thickness because it's so thin in itself. Anyway, thanks guys for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the little walk through my my napkin drawer, and I really encourage you to take advantage of this artistry that exists for a very reasonable amount of price and has such versatility to it. See you tomorrow. Bye.